Hi guys! Welcome back to another episode of our life seasons where we talk about the different seasons of life and how we grow through it. So I'm not sure if you guys can tell, my voice is a little bit different today because I have news and it's not too good of a news. I'm down with COVID for the past few days. I've only tested positive this morning. I don't know why, but I have not been feeling well since last Sunday, and I'm recording this on Wednesday, which means I'm a day late from the time that I'm supposed to record my weekly episodes. But anyways, I did contemplate whether or not I will be well enough to record this podcast episode. But like I mentioned before, I have promised, I've made a pact with the universe that I'm gonna continue to post an episode every single day. Not every single oh my god. Every single week. I'm gonna post an episode every single week. And so I don't see a reason as to why COVID would stop me from recording my podcast and posting it. So here I am. But before I move any further, I just want to say that we're near Christmas. And for the first time ever, I actually do feel like it's Christmassy. There's this Christmassy vibe to it. I'm not sure why, because for those of you who know, I'm based in Singapore, and in Singapore we don't have snow. During December we only have which is our monsoon season, we have a lot of rain. But I don't know, it's just nothing much about Singapore that makes me feel like it's Christmas, even though we do have Christmas decorations that are up in town and stuff like that. But it's just, I don't know, I just don't feel like it's as good as of a Christmas vibe as compared to, being in other places. That's just me. But somehow this year, as of right now, I feel like, oh, we're actually getting there a little bit. Especially, I don't know why, maybe because of my fairy lights and just candles in general, or just me wearing this sweater, because I have just been in the slump for the past few days. My head has just been throbbing. Every single time that I cough, I feel like I'm coughing my mind out. It's really insane because this is the first time, believe it or not, after 2 years of not having COVID, I'm having COVID for the first time ever. And I've always heard that it's gonna be really bad. That it's like you feel like it's so bad. But I feel like as of right now, I think it's okay. It's still manageable. And I'm very glad that it's still manageable, because then I'm able to record this podcast episode and not miss one. Because I have planned out my podcast episode for the entire December, just based on how, rounding up 2023 and just moving into 2024, what are the things that I'm bringing in with me, or what are the things that I'm doing to prep for 2024, and I just want to be able to share them with you guys. So I know that I'm not sure about where you are at right now, but in Singapore, especially for the people that's around me, my group of friends and circle of friends, we have this flu bug going on. And yeah, it's just been like a case of rising of like COVID-19 cases. But anyways, I know I kind of did a little rambling there, but it's just an update. So if you feel like there's a difference between my voice, just bear with me. Just know that I'm not feeling too well, but I'm still very excited for this podcast episode. Okay, so let's get into it. So in today's episode, we're gonna be talking about my gratitude jar. So this jar has made its appearance, I think, for a couple of episodes now. So you guys who have followed, the previous few episodes, you will know that it has made its appearance. If you're on audio version, please head on to the video version on YouTube so that you can actually see how the jar looks like. If not, I'll explain what it looks like in a sense to the best of my ability. It's basically a jar where I fill up with a lot of post-it notes, and these post-it notes are moments of gratification that has happened throughout my entire 2023, or whatever that has happened for that day. So I'll actually write it down and pile it up for the entire year. And at the end of the year, what I would do, which is on the 31st of December, what I would do is I would take out and I'll empty out this jar, and I'll read every single one of the post-it notes here and reminisce the times that that I've written in that post-it note. And honestly, this is one of my favorite activities to do towards the year end, when everyone is setting goals and stuff like that. What I like to do is actually to read out all my gratifications and all my gratitude notes, what I like to call my gratitude love letters, to myself, because it is really an activity has brought me to realize that there is so much more to be grateful for in life. And it also made me realize that being grateful for the little things in life allows me to be so much more in flow. It allows me to actually live in the present moment, because when I'm grateful for even the little things and the tiniest things in life, I realize that my manifestations come in so quickly, like out of nowhere. And I'm always surprised by what I can manifest, because I realize one thing about it, and what it is one of the key things to manifestation, is that when you live with gratification, or when your default mode is gratitude, what you do is that you tend to live in a moment of in the present moment. You no longer put yourself in the past, you no longer worry about the future. You live in the current present moment and find little things to be grateful for, even the smallest things, like waking up being able to wake up knowing that, at the other end of the world, some people might not be able to make it in life, and they might not make it in life, but rather their life journey has come to an end. And I'm forever grateful when I put things into perspective, to know that I still do get a chance every single day. Know that every single day is a new opportunity, is a new chance, is a second chance for you to start living the life that you want to live. Start living your best life, however that looks like for you. Live life to the fullest, right? And it's all about conscious living, and I'm all for that. So when I start to write all this gratitude jar, and I've been doing it for 2 years now, one thing I've realized and changed, I realized that has changed a lot in my life, is how I'm able to be more grateful every single day, how I'm able to live in the present moment and just be in flow. There's so much that goes on with just this little action and this little routine that I add on to my life in every single day. It has really changed, like bit by bit. When I look back at my year, I realize, oh my god, the amount of things that I can be grateful for. Just look at this jar. It's so filled. It's filled to the brim, and we are only halfway through December. And I have to literally squish all the post-it notes so that I could fit more in. And it may not be the best looking jar, I would say, but as you can see, if for those of you on video, you'll be able to see that there are two different colors. One is lime, and then lime yellow, and then another one is just pure egg yolk yellow color. So the one in lime green is more of bigger gratification moments, and the one in small ones are just daily little notes, and there's no difference between both of them. Other than that, I am equally grateful for all these moments, and that's why I wrote it down and just put it in. And I feel like I want to talk about this gratitude jar because it has really, really helped me a lot. And I know I keep saying this, but honestly, it has really helped me a lot. I'm gonna be reading out a few of the notes that I will be randomly picking out from this jar, just to share with you guys, and just to give you guys a little perspective on what I am grateful for, and just reminisce the moments that I'm grateful for throughout the year. I know it's almost Christmas, and we have not come to the end of 2023 yet, which I will definitely be reading every single one of them on the 31st of December. In my own private time, but because for the sake of this episode, it's gonna go on forever if I'm gonna read out every single one of them, right? So for the sake of this episode, I'm gonna probably pick 4 or 5 of the notes and just kind of read it out and give you guys some context and bring you guys along with me on the memory lane, so that I can reminisce some of these grateful moments that I have. And this jar has been sitting on my desk, and I've been seeing it every single day, just because every single night when I wind down for the day, when I unwind for the day, I would actually write down, other than journaling, what I would do is I would actually write down the things that I'm grateful for that day. I would pick out at least one, just at least one for the day, no matter how bad that day might seem, or no matter how much I feel that day wasn't my best day. I would pick just one thing to be grateful for, write it down and put it in a jar. So I make it a habit to be grateful for something, at least one thing every single day. Okay, so like I mentioned, put this in the motion when your default mode is just gratitude. The way you respond to a lot of things is different. You no longer react to things, right? You respond to things because you know that everything that happens for a reason. And excuse me, sorry, my nose is anyways, anything that happens for a reason, everything that happens for a reason and for you. So being grateful just allows you to know that you just let go. You allow yourself to let go and be like, you know what, it's okay. Like, it happens, it's okay. I'm grateful. You're able to look at things from a different perspective and appreciate things from a different perspective and not hold on to the fact that, oh my god, why is this happening to me? Like, why me? Why this? Why that? And just be in this resentment and this anger. And I'm not saying that you can be happy all the time, but at least try to be happy, or rather at least try to be in this grateful mode like majority of the times, right? I'm not saying that I'm perfect. Sometimes I do have days where, I miss a couple of days of not writing my gratitude notes, but I will always make it up the following day, right? So there's no rule to this gratitude jar. You can do whatever that you want. It doesn't have to be a jar. It can be a bag. It can be, I don't know, a cup. It can be a mug. Whatever it is, whatever floats your boat. What I did for mine is that I went to IKEA and I just got this, like, I think for $1.90 or $2. Yeah, it's just a glass jar, and it's just aesthetically pleasing. That's why. And for those of you who are wondering what this is just a keychain, which I use it as a stopper, and I don't know why, it just fits nicely. Everything is just yellow, though yellow isn't my favorite color, but I would say that because yellow, when I look at yellow, it just kind of reminds me of this happy moment, and it's unintentional. But yeah, when I look at this jar, I just feel so happy. So just make sure that you pick out something that when you look at it, you just feel so happy, because you're gonna be seeing this every single day, and I recommend you to see this every single day. So please do give this a try. For the year of 2024, what I would do is that I will get a new jar. I will clean up the jar, and then I will get like a post-it, like a stack of post-it notes, and then I will just place it on my table. So every single time that I finish journaling, I will know that it's time for me to write my gratitude note, and write it down. I will roll it up and I'll put it in. Okay, so however you like it, whatever floats your boat. So like I mentioned, at the end of every year, I will empty it out, I'll read it, and then I would collect them. Right, I'm not so sure what I'm gonna do with the used paper, because I don't really like to waste. I'll probably recycle them. But yeah, so that's that. Oh, one popped up. So I guess I'm reading this later. So yeah. So this is my gratitude jar, and now I'm gonna, let me see. Okay, yeah. So now I'm probably gonna, like, in random, I'm gonna just pick out a few, and this popped up. I don't know why, out of nowhere from my lap. So I'm just gonna read this one first, okay? So when is this? Oh, this is in June. Okay, this is on the 9th of June. Recorded my intro episode to for my new podcast with excitement. Perfect lighting, perfect editing. I'm so happy. Oh my god. I kid you not. I need a moment. I am so shocked. For those of you who are on the video version, you guys will be able to know. I don't know. I'm gonna probably look back at the video and see when this popped out, because it's so crazy. Like, I'm not even joking. I don't even know. I might be overreacting, but on the 9th of June is when I recorded my first intro podcast episode for our live seasons. And this is the first thing that picked up. I can't make this up, guys. Like, oh, I'm so happy. Okay, just for context purposes, this is my second time actually recording this podcast episode, because few minutes back, I think about an hour back, I was trying to record this podcast episode, and then I just had a lot of like background noise of my dog screaming because it's his dinner time, and I was contemplating whether or not I would want to re-record this or just put it as it is. But I just felt like, it wasn't good enough. For me, I just didn't felt like I wanted to put that up because the quality just wasn't there. And so I decided to re-record it. And guess what? And when I picked out like the notes randomly in this jar, this did not come out. But now this came out. So yeah, if you don't believe in, like, I don't know, spirituality or yeah, synchronicities at least, I don't know what, okay? Because honestly, where I picked this note up, it's here. Alright, it's right beside me on my pillow. I don't know how this came up. Maybe when I flip this up or whatever, but I'm gonna replay it and see when it popped up. But this note is just so special to me because for those of you who don't know backstory, I have been wanting to restart my podcast episode my podcast for the longest time. Prior to our live seasons, it was named an influential family podcast, and it was a lot on like business. It wasn't really aligned with me, though the first few episodes was pretty much aligned with what I like to talk about and what I like to do. But the thing is that as time passed, I think I was doing it for the sake of trying to make something out of it, and it's just very forceful. It wasn't nice at all, so I stopped it in total. And then fast forward probably a year plus later, I had a lot of podcast episode ideas just when I was commuting to work, and then I was just thinking whether or not I want to restart the podcast episode, but I was afraid that I would stop it again, and it's just not very nice, and it would just prove to myself that, you know, I'm someone that start things but can't like carry it out for the long run, and I just can't be persistent and stuff like that. So I was contemplating so much, and I talked about this in my first few episodes, in my intro, in the first episode of my podcast, I think. So you guys can give it a listen to know more context of, you know, how this actually started and how I came up with this idea of our live seasons. And honestly, ever since then, it has felt so much, I felt so much more at ease. Everything just seems to flow, and it's been 6 months, a little slightly over 6 months since I actually started this podcast, and I can't believe that, you know, yeah, moments like that I'm really, really, really grateful for. And I don't know why I didn't write this on like the lime green one, like for a more important moment, but I guess this will do. Like, honestly, I'm so shocked. Like, I love this. Okay, anyways, moving on. Let's just pick the few, okay? So, ASMR. Anyways, okay, let's just be serious. Now, another one. When is this? This is on the 27th of August. Random excitement of something big is coming my way. San Francisco trip. I can't wait. I can already feel it. Butterflies. Okay, so this one, oh my god, just reading it brings me back to the moment. I'm so excited. Okay, so in September till October, I was actually in San Francisco. I went back to San Francisco after 4 years of wanting to go back, but because of COVID and just things in general, I wasn't able to get there. And I used to think that, you know, my second time visiting San Francisco, other than, you know, the time that I was there for an internship, I would be back with someone that was really close to me at that point in time. But because, you know, things happen, and again, I talked about it in the first episode, so I was actually ready to go back San Francisco alone, and I booked this trip out of just, I don't know, it was just out of nowhere. I just felt called to book it, and I did without thinking much, and I didn't know how I was gonna fund my trip, because solo trips are actually pretty expensive if you think about it. They are more on the pricey side. Okay, I wouldn't say it's expensive, but it's more on the pricey side, which I feel like is totally worth it after my trip there. And I would say that prior to me leaving for San Francisco, I had a lot of moments where I had just random moments of excitement, just butterflies in my stomach. I was just thinking about the whole entire trip, how it's gonna go. I had a lot of expectations going into that trip, and honestly, it didn't disappoint, even though a lot of things didn't happen the way I wanted to. But at the same time, I felt like, you know, I was at ease. It's so funny because back then, like during the trip, I felt like I wasn't like a tourist. I felt like I was more like a local than ever. And it's so funny because I met up with my ex-intern boss, and he told me that you look and you fit right in with the locals. You don't feel like, you know, you're someone that is not from San Francisco. And I was like, oh my god, like I feel that too. And that was the whole purpose of my trip. I wanted to explore, not like a tourist, but like a local. I just want to live life like a local and act as if, you know, I'm living there, because one of my plans in the near future is to be able to move somewhere. It might not be San Francisco, it might just be somewhere else, I don't know. But prior to that trip, a lot of people are telling me that, you know, San Francisco is so dangerous, like you gotta be safe. Like there's a lot of fear around the topic of me traveling to San Francisco alone. But it didn't affect me, because I feel like, you know, whatever that's gonna happen is gonna happen. Like I mentioned, I practice gratification, I practice gratitude, so I know that, you know, whatever happens, there has to be something that I'm grateful for. There has to be a reason why it happened. So I was ready for a lot of things, for the worst things to happen, but at the same time, I knew I was gonna enjoy my trip, and I did enjoy my trip. Okay, so this is just an example of being grateful for even moments like that. Even though, like right now when I talk about it, it might seem like a very big thing. But trust me, as time passes, as you kind of move on with life and live day to day, you will know that there are a lot of things that is ongoing in our mind. We have to make decisions every single day. We have to, like, there's so much going on our plates, like every single one of us, that sometimes, we forget about moments like that, right? We do get excited here and there, yes, but do we ever really sit down and savor them and then actually revisit them? It's very rare unless you give yourself the opportunity, or unless you allow yourself to have that space to do that. Because honestly, let me tell you, without this gratification jar, or without this gratitude jar, I would not be able to sit here and reminisce these moments together with you guys. Yes, every now and then I may look back at it, but this honestly are really, really small moments. We only remember the big moments in our lives, like the big life-changing moments, the moments that we think that, alters like our brain chemistry, something that affects our whole life. And usually it's a bad thing. I don't know why, but usually it's always something that's negative, right? Like whether or not it's a loss of a relationship, or whether or not it's lost someone, or whether or not, it's like losing career. We always think about like the bad things that has happened, that thing that has changed our life. It's very rare that it's a good memory, and it's really sad if you think about it, right? So I think prior to me creating this jar, I was also reminiscing a lot on like the bad memories, or rather the not so good memories. I wouldn't say bad, but the not so good memories, the not so positive ones. And when I tried to find the positive memories, I just felt like it was so much harder. It was 2 times harder than trying to find or remember memories that weren't so good, right? And that's when I decided to come up with this jar and decided to proceed on with finding notes, or rather finding moments that I can be grateful for every single day, to pile up in this jar, so that I know that every single time that I do not know what I can be grateful for, I can just pick out random notes from this jar and look at it and know that there's so much more to be grateful for. And this is something that I love to do. And honestly, I'm not going to claim credit for this, because this idea of creating a gratitude jar, I think I found it out on like 2 years back. I was just scrolling through, and there was this video on my For You page where this creator was talking about how she does this as well. So I always thought that, it was such a good idea, but I didn't know that it was going to change my life. Okay, so I took this really seriously, because I felt like it was something that I really needed. So before I move on, I just kind of want to say that, like, backstory before like all this happened, I actually created this jar 2 years back. I think start of 2022, where I started this whole jar, right? And at the end of 2022, while I was emptying out this jar, I realized it was really sad, because I realized that as much as there was a lot going on in 2022, whatever that I wrote down was a lot on how people brought happiness into my life. It was a lot on the surface level stuff. When I read it out, it just didn't felt good, because like I mentioned, in 2022, there were a lot of times that I couldn't be alone. I didn't know how to spend time alone. I didn't know that, being alone can feel so good, that it doesn't mean that you're lonely. And I was still dabbling a lot into the self-help, self-development, the mindfulness journey, and I wasn't able to fully embrace myself. For me, someone that loves spirituality, someone that loves manifestations, I wasn't someone that was able to fully embrace this identity of mine, and only until 2023, right? So 2022, my whole entire jar, when I read it, I couldn't make it through the entire jar, because it was a lot on how, whether or not was my then partner, how he was actually bringing happiness into my life. And it was just a lot of materialistic stuff, like, being able to purchase a big ticket item, being able to get somewhere or travel somewhere. As much as these were good memories, don't get me wrong, but it just didn't felt, I don't know how to put it, like, it just didn't felt like it was those gut level emotion where it evokes a lot of, like, being able to read it, it evokes a lot of like gratification and just surge of emotions, right? There wasn't much to it. So what I did was I dumped out the whole entire jar without getting through it, because it was so painful for me to get through it. But what I did realize through that process was that I knew that 2023, I am going to fill up this jar with memories of just me loving on myself, and just memories of gratitude moments of me being grateful that whatever that I have is already mine and it's already here. That, I'm able to make myself happy, and I'm able to be grateful for the things that I'm grateful for just because, right? I don't need crazy reasons for that. I am grateful just because. I'm grateful that I'm alive. That I'm grateful that every single day I get to wake up knowing that, maybe at the other end of the world, there might be someone that would not be able to carry on with life just because their life journey has come to an end. And I know it's a little bit dark. You might not want to think of it that way, but it really helps to put things into perspective for me. And yeah, just being able to be grateful that I have this microphone, I have a phone, I'm able to record, I'm able to edit my podcast, I'm able to put out my podcast out there to the people that who are willing to listen to this, to people like you. I'm very grateful to have a community. And yeah, just being able to be grateful for things like that just really changes a lot of things. Okay, so I know I picked up two. Let me just pick out one major ones, alright? A lime one. Let's see. Which one should I pick? Okay, this one is calling me. So let me just do a little digging. Oops. Alright. Okay. So this big one. Let's see. Oh, this is a good number. 77. This is on the 7th of July. Okay. Was settling my credit card bills and had extra 1,800 out of nowhere and $200 from my card cashback. Lovely abundance. I'm so excited for my trip and what's to come. Thank you, universe, for the abundance and wealth. Oh, this is amazing. Look at that. I even drew a heart. Okay, so there's a reason why this was in this yellow note. It's because I remember this so clearly. Okay, so the story to this was that I thought that I had overpaid my credit card bills because I paid it twice, I think. And I was like, why isn't it reflecting? Like, it should be zero by now, because if I paid off my credit card bills, it shouldn't be, it shouldn't have that number, that it should be zero, right? So I had a lot of like panic moments, and I was like, you know what, it's okay. I'm gonna figure this out. It's fine, right? I know that I have what it takes to pay off my bills. I did not spend unnecessarily, or rather, like, I know that I am financially abundant enough to be able to pay off my bills. Okay, so what I did was I called up the bank, and then we had like this back and forth going on, and he was like saying, oh, I think you have like a $200 in your cashback, like you might want to use that to offset your bills in the future and stuff like that. I was like, wait, what? $200? Like, where did that come from? So apparently what that happened, where that came from was, me, I think it was a promotion that was ongoing when I was signing up for this card, where they give you, upon signing up, like the first, I don't know, 100 or 1,000 signups, you can actually get like a $200 cashback. And then supposedly this cashback, like, you can't actually take it out as cash, but somehow, or rather, I don't know what happened, like, I'm able to like transfer it into my savings account, which means I could actually take it out. So that's like cash in a sense. It's so confusing. Don't ask me why. But yeah, that's one. And then another one was like, he was like telling me that, oh, it was already long paid for, like your credit card bill was long paid for, and you could actually head on to this part of the app. Like, he was navigating me through the mobile app to actually get like the balance credited back into my account, right? So I was like doing all that, and I realized how come like I'm able to credit like 1.8k excluding this $200 into my bank account. And I was like, wait, what? And during this period of time, I was actually manifesting like a certain amount of money so that I could actually fund my San Francisco trip, because like I mentioned, I booked this trip out of nowhere. I didn't know how I was gonna fund it, so I wanted to manifest the money, but at the same time I let it go. I didn't know how. I was honestly too busy to think about it, but at the same time I was just pretty much in flow. Like I mentioned, I have a lot of like butterfly moments and just excitement. I couldn't wait for my trip. Whenever I planned this trip, I was just in so much excitement instead of this worry of like, oh my god, how am I gonna plan this? Like, when I booked my hotel, I did not, even though I had a budget, I did not restrict myself to that budget, or rather I did not, feel like, okay, I want to stay far away just because it's cheap. Even though it's not convenient, it's fine because it's cheap, right? I was not looking for the cheapest solution, more of something that feels good in my body. And even though it ran a little bit over my budget, but at the end of the day, I was able to pay off everything and even more. So this was one of the moments where I manifested like 2K out of I don't know where, but yeah, so this was one of the moments that was really, really important. So I like how all of this just kind of falls into place, like all three of my notes. Where's the other one? But okay, anyway, let me pick one more. Okay, let's pick a small one. Okay, a last one. All right. Oh, this is pretty recent, I would say. On the 16th of November, tidied up my room today, felt clean and a great start. Yeah, so this may not seem like anything, but like I mentioned, little things to be grateful for. I didn't have a lot of time before November, like from the start January all the way to October, and I didn't have much time, and my room was constantly in this messy state because all I felt like I did was I went to work, I come back, I sleep in my bed, and then the next day I go to work again. The cycle repeats, right? I didn't have time to actually clean up my room, and my room was in a mess. My closet was in a mess. Like everything was just in a mess, and I didn't really want to like clean it up yet, just because I know that there will come a point in time where I'm able to clean out. And I like to do like an energetic cleanse as well when it comes to my room. I like to shift things around, just make sure that things are in proper placing. And I know that there were a lot of dust everywhere, and I just didn't like it. So on the 16th of November, after procrastinating for probably a week or two, I finally decided to clean out my wardrobe. And oh my god, it was so clean and I felt so happy. And honestly, after cleaning my room, I just felt like it was after creating my 2024 mood board, and I felt like everything just kind of comes in together. So that's why I mentioned in like I think episode 25 or 24, I forgot, but I remind you guys to actually plan early, to start your visualization or your vision boarding early, so that you kind of put yourself in this mode of like easing yourself into 2024. You don't have to wait till 2024 to start planning, because I think one thing that I realized that has actually helped me a lot is to start planning early, so that when 2024 comes, you know exactly what are your what are your visuals like, what do you want for the year, and how you can actually start your year that way, right? You give yourself some time and give the universe some time to bring your manifestations to reality. So this is just kind of how I like to think of it, and honestly, it's just good. It just feels good to be able to start early. Okay, so if you have not started your vision boarding, please refer to 2 episodes back, where I talk about my vision board and how I actually created them and how you can create yours as well. I kind of brought you through the whole gist of like my vision board and how it looks like. So some tips and tricks as well. So that's that. I think I'm probably gonna stop here, but obviously I'm gonna be actually opening up more of my gratitude jar or my gratitude notes, and I'm gonna actually post them on Instagram or at our live seasons Instagram account, and I'm gonna have a highlight there that you guys can actually go to and look at more notes, and I'll give a little bit context of what this note is all about and what I'm grateful for and stuff like that. So if you guys enjoy my gratitude notes, a sneak peek of them, you can actually go on to our live seasons highlights. I'll have them up probably next week or so, and just for the rest of the week, I will actually post up a little bit of my gratitude notes every single day, just so that you guys can actually have more context on it and just enjoy stuff like that. So that's that. And so yeah, I just hope that you guys understand how important it is to be grateful, and just know that moments like that, little moments like that, you can be grateful for as well. And honestly speaking, like I mentioned, after practicing gratitude for about a year plus now, I realized that it has actually made a huge impact in my life. Like, I'm not even joking, because I think one thing that we always think about, or rather a misconception that we have, or that I hear a lot of people saying, is that I need my manifestations to come into my life, into my reality, before I can be grateful. or before I can feel happy, right? And I feel like for the longest period of time, I did actually believe in that as well. And I did tell myself that, oh, I need to wait for my manifestations to come into my life before I believe in it, or rather before I actually think that, I can be grateful for the things, or rather I have something to be grateful for, right? But what you realize is that it's actually the opposite way around. For your manifestations to come into your life, you have to first be grateful for it. Because honestly, the universe would not give you things to be grateful for, or more things to be grateful for, if you can't even be grateful for the things that you already have, right? If it makes sense. Like, if you are not happy with whatever that you have on hand right now, like even the little things that you have right now, what makes you think that you deserve to have more? Because honestly, if you're not grateful, like, why would someone give you more, right? It's the same thing. If, let's just say right now, if you were to approach like your friend or someone and you were to give them this gift, or you were to like compliment whatever it is, right? But they don't reciprocate and they are not grateful, you don't see that they're grateful for it, you would not want to give them more, right? It's just like I would say it's just a very normal human thing. I'm not saying that like you shouldn't give someone something, or rather you shouldn't contribute to someone or someone's life even though they're not grateful for. Be giving by all means, like have such a big heart and be giving, but at the same time know that there's just so much to be grateful for in this lifetime, in your lifetime. Even though life may be so shitty at sometimes, or rather you might feel like, oh my god, like why is my life like that, just know that every single situation, every single thing that has happened in your life, they happen for a reason, for you, and there's always the other perspective to it. Because if you always harp on the perspective that is not so good, or the perspective that does not help you grow, then you will forever be stuck in this loop of like resentment, of anger, of unhappiness. Because if you can't pull yourself out of this and look at things from another perspective, or from the love lens, or from the gratitude lens, then I would say that it's really hard for you to ever be grateful. Because if you don't want to be grateful, no one else can make you be grateful, or no one else can allow you to see things from a different side of things, right? Because like I mentioned, like if you don't want to change, no one else can make you change. I can't make you change. Listening to this podcast episode can't make you change, right? So the first thing is to be self-aware, to know that, everything that happens, whenever you find yourself, or rather what I find really helpful for me is that whenever you find yourself thinking of like one negative thought, like when you start to face certain obstacles in your life, and immediately you start thinking, oh my god, why this again? Why me? I want you to switch that, catch yourself doing that, and be like, okay, so what can I learn from this? Like, what can I be grateful for from this? Even though you may not see what you can be grateful for right now, simply just think of like the possibilities of how this situation can help your future, or what are the possibilities that this situation can bring you, is more than enough. Because then you allow yourself to transit from this lack into this abundance, and to know that, okay, there's so much more that can happen. Like there's so much more other things that the universe has planned out for me that I am not seeing, right? Because if you're so close-minded, the universe will never be able to give you more, right? Because one thing that I've realized, and if you think about your situation as well, you will realize that a lot of things that you want to manifest, or rather you have manifested, it always comes at a really insane like way, or rather in a way where you've never ever thought it would happen, or in the time that you've never thought it will come. And when you look back at these moments, at least for me, I realized that every single time my manifestations start coming in, prior to that, I was always grateful. I was always in such a great mood. I was always just feeling like there's so much possibilities in life, and I just felt like, the universe has my back, that I'm the universe's favorite child, that whatever decisions that I make, like the universe is always there for me. Like I do not make any wrong decisions, because every decision is meant to be, right? And that's something that is on my 2024 vision board, and I always believe in that. So I would say that if you have not tried to practice like gratitude every single now and then, and slowly build it up, what I do like to do is that I like to journal. So every time I finish journaling, I would actually write down at least one thing I'm grateful for that day, or at least 3 if you can, and put it in my gratitude jar. And if you don't like to waste paper, it's fine. You can actually write it in your digital journal or your digital gratitude jar. But the thing is that I feel like for me, when I write things down on pen and paper and when I read back, I could always imagine myself, and it brings me to that particular moment of me writing that down and also just reminiscing that moment, that gratitude moment again. So that's just me. But like I say, do whatever that floats your boat, okay? Take what resonates and leave what doesn't. So I would say that this is kind of what I have for you for this episode. I hope that you enjoy episodes like that. And yeah, look out for my Instagram highlight at our live seasons Instagram, just to see more on, like, you know, my gratitude notes. And if you love to see more of that, yeah, be sure to hit to that highlight. So other than that, I hope that you enjoy today's episode, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.